Hello everyone, today we are going to speak on an MLIP project that is on brain tumor classification. This presentation is going to be presented by Shashwat and Shraddha. Brain is one of the most complex and vital organs of a human body that works with the billions of cells. When uncontrolled cell division happens, an abnormal group of cells is formed called tumor. Brain tumor can be classified as benign and malignant. Benign tumor is non-cancerous, grows slowly and does not spread to the other parts of the brain, whereas malignant is cancerous, grows quickly and spreads to the nearby tissues and organs, which can be life-threatening. MRI image is usually used to detect tumor. However, it is susceptible to the human subjectivity and large amount of data is difficult for human observation. Early tumor detection depends on the experience of the radiologist. To establish whether a tumor is benign or malignant, a biopsy is required. A biopsy of the brain tumor requires a brain surgery. Thus, in order to get a precise diagnostics, avoid brain surgery and subjectivity, we need an effective method that could classify tumor using MRI images. Tumors that originate from the brain tissues are called as primary brain tumors. Here in this project, we are classifying primary brain tumor into three classes: gliomas, meningiomas, and pituitary tumors. Gliomas arise from the brain tissues other than the nerve cells and the blood vessels. Meningiomas arise from the membranes that cover the brain and surround the central nervous system. Pituitary tumors are lumps that sit inside the skull. Meningiomas are typically benign and gliomas are most commonly malignant. Pituitary tumors are benign but still can cause other damages. A little glimpse of how these tumors look like. An experienced radiologist would be able to identify to which class the tumor belongs to, but for an inexperienced person, there is always a chance of misclassification. The MRI image dataset used in our project was acquired by Nangfang Hospital and General Hospital, Tianjin Medical University, China from the year 2005 to 2010. The total number of data samples is 3064 and is classified into three categories. There are several other researches that were done on classification of tumor. Some of them are mentioned on the slide. Some researchers used CNN for classification while others used SVM, deep neural networks, and fuzzy c-means. We first started by trying to apply their algorithms on our dataset and the accuracies were very good. The method we adopted is mentioned as follows. For image pre-processing, originally the images were of grayscale and of size 512 x 512. The tumor region is cropped out of the image and is resized to 224 x 224. We use CNN for classification. We applied different CNN architectures like VGG16, VGG19 and ResNet. We have also implemented a new algorithm based on a research paper on our dataset.
Hi, I'm Shashwat and I'd like to take you through the implementation details of the project. The project was done on Google Colaboratory with GPU runtime enabled. We used TensorFlow 2.0 for constructing and training the model. OpenCV and Matplotlib were used for pre-processing and Seaborn for visualizing the confusion matrix. We used 4-fold cross-validation while training with 25 epochs for VGG16, 19 and the new architecture, while we used 45 epochs for training ResNet. Categorical cross entropy was used as the loss function and Adam as the optimizer with 0.04 as the learning rate. Our dataset consisted of two images for each sample. First, the MRI image and second, the tumor mask. We overlapped both and encoded the tumor mask into the red color channel to highlight the tumor region in the MRI. We then cropped this highlighted region and used it as the input to our model. The original image dimension was 512 x 512 and after cropping it was 224 x 224. Previously, Shraddha mentioned the various architectures we have used for training. Let's get some insights as to why we volunteered for these architectures and not some others. Our inspiration came from the ImageNet challenge. Since the top performers were VGG, GoogleNet and ResNet for classifying the images there, we believe that they will do a good job here as well. Let's start with VGG16 first. Since we are using the cropped images of dimension 224 x 224, thus we want the receptive field at the deeper layers to look at bigger regions in the image. Thus, VGG16 is the perfect candidate because it neither looks at very fine features nor it discards the important features needed for classification. Now let's take a look at VGG19. It has a receptive field much smaller than VGG16 and looks at very refined features present in the image. It works really well if you use the original 512 x 512 image for classification. Because there the tumor is localized in a very small region and there is a requirement for extracting more refined features by looking at smaller region in the deeper layers of the network. As far as the cropped images are concerned, it does not perform as good as VGG16 but is still the second runner-up in the classification game. The ResNet architecture performed remarkably well in the ImageNet challenge. We use smaller version of it, ResNet 50, for our implementation. Despite changing the learning rates, epochs and folds for training, ResNet did not perform as well as other architectures. Instead, the testing and the validation accuracy stagnated after a certain number of epochs before overtraining. A plausible explanation being, despite the skip connections, the problem of the diminishing gradient was still present there. The new architecture was taken from a research paper named Classification of Brain Tumors from MRI Images Using Convolutional Neural Network. This paper was published in the Applied Sciences Journal in January 2020. They used a different dataset and got 95% test accuracy. The final results which we got for classification on various architectures are as follows. Among them, VGG16 gave the best result for classification of brain tumors. Let's take a cursory look at the confusion matrices as well for the above architectures. This is the confusion matrix for VGG16. This is for VGG19. This is for ResNet 50. And this is for the new architecture. Finally, I would conclude by saying that we encounter the problem of diminishing gradient with very large architectures. Using batch normalization and data augmentation techniques generally improve the results, but in our case we didn't see any significant improvement. These methods can be the scope of future developments to the current existing models. These are the references and links to the dataset and the images we used in the presentation. Thank you and stay safe.